our next session this evening is the Big Astronomy Project, striving to create a new model for planetarium content. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to our session hosts this evening, Renae Kerrigan, Shannon Schmoll, Tiffany Wolbrect, and Ryan Wyatt. Ladies and Ryan, take it away.
All right, hello everyone. Tiffany's going to share the screen. Tiffany and I, we've had a bit of a change of plans with just how everything's changing. So Tiffany and I will be speaking today. If you do want to hear Ryan talk more about his part of the show and the project, the 2 sessions later from here, right after the Godot presentation at 10:50 UT, Brian will be talking about the project there as well. So we would encourage you to head over there just a little bit after us. But for those of you who might not know or be aware of the Big Astronomy Project, this is a National Science Foundation funded project here in the US. That is sort of our big science funder through the government. And this is a multi-unit, multi-organization project here. And so I thought I'd go through who we are and who's all on the team and their roles, so to give you a sense of how big this project is. So first, it's creating a planetarium show, which has been created. That was led by Ryan Wyatt and his team at the California Academy of Sciences. Tiffany will talk a little bit more about how you can get the show if you would like it. It is free to mostly free, depending on what resolution you want. So I'll let Tiffany talk a little bit more about that. Like I said, Tiffany, she is at the Ward Beecher Planetarium, and so she is responsible for the distribution and management of our web portal, which is a website that will host, amongst other things, additional content, a map of where planetariums might be showing the planetarium show, and so on, and also just more information about the project. We also have Renae Kerrigan at the Peoria Riverfront Museum, who is going to be managing who is managing our social media accounts. And more specifically related to that, it's not just social media, like come check some things out. We are hosting live events where people would be able to come and meet some of the people involved in the project and who work at observatories, which I guess is a good time now to introduce what the show is about. So the planetarium show itself is about astronomy in Chile and all the major observatories down there that are funded by the National Science Foundation. And it specifically features the people who work there and all the different science careers and different careers you can have to support big science and particularly big astronomy. We also have the Astronomy Society of the Pacific, led by Vivian White, who is creating hands-on kits. And then myself and Katie Hinko and Jessica Trucks at the Abrams Planetarium at Michigan State University, we are managing research around this project. So we're doing educational research. And then finally, AURA and AUI, they are sort of the legal organizations that run some of the major observatories, both in the US and in Chile, that are funded by the United States. And they're acting as our administrative unit within all of this. So can you take me to the next slide? So the title of all of this is Seeking a New Model for Planetarium Engagement. So what do we mean by that? So we came up with a model that we call Dome Plus, because the point of this project is to extend engagement beyond the dome. So once people leave our domes, we want to provide them the scaffolding that they need to continue their learning well beyond the show itself, based off of what they might be interested in, what they might identify with, and what they might choose to do. So those principles of interest, agency, and identity all act as design principles in this project, where originally we were centering the dome and then creating additional resources that provide that scaffolding that could either bring people into the dome or give them the opportunity to continue learning beyond the dome. Unfortunately, in the era of COVID, most domes are not open. They cannot run the show. And so we still want to be able to offer the planetarium show in some capacity that is still very useful to all of our friends right now. out there who are trying to figure out how to engage their audiences virtually. So we are shifting our research focus from understanding this model and understanding how people navigate between the dome and the different resources to what we're calling Show Plus instead, and using virtual showings of the show online as a means of acting as a proxy for the dome itself, and then focusing our analysis on how people navigate through all the additional resources around the dome and around the show, and build that part of the model up more robustly to take on to another future project, hopefully with another planetarium show and resources. So this is what we're trying to do. We're researching this model and how people navigate between all the pieces. Tiffany?
All right, so now Shannon's explained a little bit about how the research side of this project is changing in response to COVID-19, but what is that going to look like on the user side for you guys? If you have been following Big Astronomy, you know that we originally planned a big global premiere on May 2nd, 2020, where we had planetariums around the world showing the show, and we would have live events online to go along with that. When the world was impacted by COVID, we quickly changed that premiere date to September 26th. And of course, now many domes will continue to stay closed even into the fall. So for the domes that are open, the show is available right now on our website. You can download lower resolution versions for free. You just fill out a small form because it is part research project. So we do need a little bit of data from you, but then you can download it. The 4K is at a small fee because we're mailing them on hard drives that you get to keep. So, but otherwise it's free and available for you to use. And we encourage, if you are open, to use our show and join us on September 26th. We're still going to have a premiere, but part of it, a large part of it's going to be online. So we're going to be offering the show, streaming it from Big Astronomy's social media pages virtually. We're going to offer, I think, 4 streams. See, I think that's on the next page here. Yeah. 4 streams of the show. 3 of those will be in English and 1 is in Spanish. I'm not sure how hard we hit this, but this is a project that from the beginning has been bilingual. So but a large portion of our audience is English. So we're doing 3 English streams, 1 Spanish. We're hoping to do these in 360. We do have the show in a 360-degree format. If that doesn't work out, we also have it in flat screen available. In addition to that, we will have 2 educational live streams throughout that day on September 26th. One of them will be interviewing the production team over at Cal Academy, learning more about how they filmed the show and what all went into creating this film. The other educational live stream will be with the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. They're developing these toolkits. It's a whole collection of hands-on activities that go along and tie in with some of the educational principles of the project and of the show. We are also adapting those to be sort of at-home kits that you can download from our web portal and utilize at your planetarium, or encourage your guests to utilize them at home. So we want Big Astronomy to be a resource for you guys in these really hard times. We want you, many of you are developing virtual programming, and we want you to be able to utilize Big Astronomy. So Big Astronomy will be available for you all to use definitely as flat screen, possibly as 360, for any virtual field trips you have with school groups, even public shows streaming. We do ask that you not archive the show in public spaces. We were really trying from the research side of things to mimic mimic what we wanted to do originally before COVID, which is to bring people to the planetarium, bring them to your social media pages to see the show, and not have it widely distributed on the internet just yet. We also hope to schedule some of these live events in advance so that you have time to maybe plan virtual programming or in-person programming around some of these live events that we are offering on our social media. How to be involved? Please sign up for our newsletter. If you haven't done that already, it's on our website. If you're interested in participating into research, reach out to Shannon. I'm going really fast because we're running out of time. And join as Shannon mentioned, Ryan's going to be talking in just a little bit more about the project, and utilize us, use us, let us know. The last big thing is a survey. Please fill out the survey. I'll let Shannon talk briefly about why that's important.
Thanks, Tiffany. Yeah, so on there we do have a survey. So this is partially for us to get information on how we can best respond in the era of COVID to all of our planetarium colleagues. But also part of that, we are asking how your planetarium is being affected by COVID so that we can create sort of a rapid report about what's going on. And this all falls under the IRB of our research grant. So just wanted to point that out as well. So we would appreciate your responses and your feedback.
All right. Well, thank you to the Big Astronomy team for everything. And of course, if you check the chat, you will be able to see all of the emails, and of course, we'll be able to pull those and have those for everyone a little bit later on. We have our next presentation at 2240 1040 UTC. That's going to be the introduction of a new product from Godot with Representative Mark Webb. And so we'll do Tiffany, I'm going to go on ahead or we'll unshare the screen there. Mark, if there's anything that you need to set up beforehand, we'll go on ahead and do that now.
Okay, let's see. Do I have screen sharing capacity?
You should be a full co-host.
Yes, I do. Okay. All right, I'm good to go. So just whenever the clock hits, just
we're
let
going
me
to
know.
get started in about 2.5 minutes.
That sounds good. I'll be right back.
So, of course, in the meantime, if there's any very short questions for the Big Astronomy team, they'd be able to take those now. And we'll unmute them if we need to.
Yeah. In the meantime, just a note, some folks are asking about translation. So if you are interested in translating it, you can contact Tiffany and she'll be able to connect you with the right folks and our sort of procedure for how we want to handle that. Glenn asked if we can download a flat screen version right now. Not really. We are trying to figure that out, and that's partially because we are trying to keep together the model that we created that we are researching as part of this project as much as possible. But that may change again in the era of COVID. So we are figuring that out. But we might have an option for like K-12, or if you want to use it for virtual field trips, again, we're just asking that it wouldn't be widely distributed. But I guess check in with us soon, or follow us, or sign up for our newsletter for any updates regarding that. Oh, we have a question. What's our favorite part of this project? It's hard.
It's been a wonderful experience to be a part of. I think telling the story through the film and through all aspects of the project of how it takes big, diverse teams to make big science happen. I think that's really rewarding to me because it's a side of science that the general public doesn't really get to see. It's not just the astronomer. It's not even just a telescope operator. There are engineers and computer programmers and chefs and every technicians of all kinds that are just as passionate and just as dedicated to these observatories. And I think that the show does a great job at really capturing that.
And I think also, we try to capture indigenous astronomy as well within Chile, which I think is another important thing that we're doing. And Yasmin Catricho, if you were in that earlier panel, she is on our team as well. So, and she's doing great work. Is there a 360 version in VR? We're working on that.
And that's where we'll have to leave it. But thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Tiffany.